President Biden's big promise to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court not polling well with the majority of the American people. 76% want the president to consider all possible nominees for the position rather than laser focusing on a black woman. But the White House says Americans are just overreacting.
The president is going to select a woman, a black woman, who is qualified, who is prepared, who has impeccable experience to serve on the court. What we can assure the American public of, wherever they fell on that poll, is that he will choose and nominate someone who has impeccable credentials and is eminently qualified.
And despite that poll we showed you earlier, the media thinks any criticism of Biden's Supreme Court plan is just for ratings.
But let's be honest. Fox wants a fight. Right-wing radio and TV wants a fight. They need a fight over the Supreme Court. They're already starting a fight that's rooted in white identity politics. All of Fox's primetime shows are outraged that Biden has committed to nominating a justice who is black and female.
So I have absolutely no problem with him nominating a justice who's black and female. Reagan said he was going to do the first female, got Sandra Day O'Connor, Greg. Trump wanted to replace RBG with a female. He got Amy Coney Barrett. What's the big deal? Barrett, what's the
I don't even care. It's a break even for Dems, right? They're going to replace a lefty with a lefty, so keep your powder dry. It doesn't make it's funny listening to Pillsbury Doughboy talk about ratings. They are in the gutter. I mean, they're literally dead. I mean, they double their ratings when they watch their own shows. That's how bad it is. So we don't have to slum for ratings. We don't have to divide a country to slum for ratings the way CNN does. But the Dems and the media will make this about equality, equity, history, bigotry, misogyny, all the E's. But it's not about that. It's about politics. The design here is to serve up a non-white, non-male selection to buffer against any or all criticism, right? They want the theater is designed so that the critic, let's say I'm the critic or Jesse or Dana's the critic, thinks twice about engaging any kind of negativity because you know you will be called misogynistic or you will be called racist. So it's all a force field. This has always been a force field. Do not be fooled that they're playing tolerance because they don't care about any non-white person if they don't kneel before their ideology. They will destroy you. They will destroy you. So do not believe this is about tolerance or race. This is about creating a buffer zone.
But it is, Dana, about politics. I mean, Reagan was about politics with Sandra Day O'Connor. He wanted to get to the female vote in 1980. Trump was about politics with Amy Coney Barrett. He wanted to get the pro-life people really energized about his. It's always about politics.
But also, look at Amy Coney Barrett. Remember during the hearing, they asked her what notes she had taken, and she held up a blank page because she didn't need to take any. There's a lot of brilliant people out there that could be considered. And one of the things that's really interesting is the diversity angle. I like this idea, the diversity of thought. So Michelle Childs, who is one of the possibilities, who apparently Congressman Clyburn likes, and Senator Graham said very positive things about this weekend, she went to public school. She didn't go to the Ivy Leagues. And that's the kind of diversity that I could really get behind. I would also just like to take a quick trip down memory lane. If Democrats really wanted to see a black woman elevated to the Supreme Court, why did they block Janice Rogers Brown back during the Bush administration? And I will never forget it because anonymously they told the papers, the papers, that's what we used to call the media, that it was because they didn't want the Republicans to have a shot at nominating the first woman, black woman to the Supreme Court. And Janice Rogers Brown would have been an incredible circuit court judge and a Supreme Court justice. She didn't get the chance.
See, that's gross. That's gross.
Yeah, they did Estrada,
I don't
too.
remember.
Well, and they were Janice Rogers Brown and Estrada were around about the same time. Yeah. And I remember it because I was responsible for the judicial nominees at the time.
Oh, it's quite a responsibility.
It's incompetent, very competent.
I didn't do very well.
But there have been only two black men. Only, there's only one Hispanic woman, one woman of color now. Come on, little affirmative action goes a long way.
I don't care about any of that, Geraldo. I care about the suspense. You don't just say who you're going to nominate before you do it. You build suspense. You build drama. You say it's all out on the table. Who knows who I might nominate? Could be anybody. And then when you do nominate a black woman, say you wanted to nominate her the whole time, then you throw it down and everyone goes, whoa, black woman, Supreme Court, this is huge. And then the media goes crazy because of the glass ceiling and they love it. And everyone's like, wow. But then now it looks like he got cornered by Clyburn to get the primary vote. I mean, whoever gets nominated is going to it's the result of a backroom racial deal that was cut so a white Democrat could win the nomination. That's the truth. I mean, and you're over seasoning the identity politics of this, right? It shouldn't be what it's about. I mean, the meat of this is her jurisprudence, is her intellect, is her judicial philosophy, and all the focus now, because the press is so into the identity politics, it's just on her skin color. And I think that takes away from her, whoever that person may be. One thing about Stelter, we don't need a fight. We're crushing it. He's lost half of his audience. Biden needs a fight. CNN needs a fight. That's who needs the fight.
Shouldn't they have just aimed for a black woman without telling anyone? Just, hey, we like everybody, we like this one.
But Clyburn told him to say it.
He promised it during the debate when Clyburn went up in the middle of the debate and said, hey, you better answer that, promise and get on stage. And he did on stage. He said, I'm going to nominate the first African-American woman to the United States Supreme Court. So it was already out. I mean, it could have been differently. It could have been different. But you know what I found interesting? That there was a poll that said 28% of non-whites, only 1 in 4, 21% of non-whites want a black female. So it's very interesting that this identity politics, I mean, who is it for when there's only like a quarter of people of color who want a black female? And I also think that Tulsi Gabbard said it best when she said the last time he said he was going to pick someone based on the color and sex, i.e. vice president, he picked Kamala Harris, and that was a disaster. So I don't think he's too good at picking people for a position based on identity politics. America's sick of it, especially on a court that will be deciding the issue of affirmative action. I mean, it's contraindicated.
Tulsi Gabbard, my favorite politician, and I want a black woman on the Supreme Court.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.